Hello, stamping friends. I'm Dorene Decibus from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and welcome to a new month of Simply Stamping Sunday. I'm so happy you're able to join me tonight and see what we have in stored. So I am just getting my phone so I can see everything that's going on. All right. So this month, I can't believe it's June. As a teacher, I measure the year. For the start of the year is September, the end of the year is June, and July and August are just my fun months. But I just can't believe it's June already. We only have 3 more weeks of school left. Well, anyways, let's get started on this. So this month I am going to focus on the Pretty Florals set. It is a super sweet. It comes with 2 bundles, the Pretty Florals and the Sweet Blooms. I'm going to be using every stamp in this set tonight and 1 stamp in this set. And then I'm also using a couple of other sets to throw in some greetings, and I'll tell you what those are in a moment. So if we open up the catalog, we find the Florals in Bloom Suite. And I apologize for I've got the shades closed, but it is so bright out today. Finally, I mean, I can see there's some rain clouds moving in, but I can also see the blue sky. So there is some light from the windows coming in, so I apologize for that. We are going, the Florals in Bloom Suite is found on page 40. And you can see it starts with some beautiful samples of what is in the catalog. And then on page 42, you find the 2 stamp sets. On 43, you find the Designer Series paper, and we're using this beautiful Designer Series paper tonight. We're going to use 5 of the designs. So this is called the Florals in Bloom Designer Series paper. And then it also comes with some pearls, the flat pearls, and they're the new In Color flat pearls. And then if you go to pages 44 and 45, you can see some more samples that go with this set. You see more samples made with this suite, and I think that is it. So you can tell that when it's a super sweet because there are so many pages devoted to it in the catalog. Okay, well, let's get started. So, as I mentioned, I'm a teacher, and the end of the year brings a lot of gifts that students give you. And so tonight I am going to kind of do a double whammy. I'm going to make some cards that I'm going to need and show you some sweet designs. So I am using the note cards tonight. So they're the basic white note cards. They measure, so they're note card size, so they measure 7 by 5, and so when they fold, they're 3.5 by 5. And and it comes with envelopes, so you have everything you need. So they're a great product to use when you're doing some simple stamping and you need a lot. So I am going to make 2 types of thank you notes tonight. They're going to be really quick. The first ones that I'm going to make all have to do with the stamping. So this is where I'm using every stamp set, and I'm using every new In Color. So that's the first 5. We're going to do all the stamping first and put together the cards afterwards. And then I'm going to use the Designer Series paper. These are really, really quick. And you'll notice that I orientated these differently based on what I was doing. So this is where we get those 5 designs of Designer Series paper, and we're just using a simple thank you. Okay, so let's get started. So the supplies that we need are pretty basic too. So we have our card bases. Hi Roz and Lynn, thanks for joining me. I have 2 different sizes of 1/2-inch strips. So I have longer ones for when we're going horizontally, and I have shorter ones for when we're going vertically for the cards. I think it's 1 inch. A 1-inch strip of basic white paper that was a scrap, and I stamped a bunch of thank yous on it. So I'm going to set those aside, just using this Secret Sky ink. I have one that's not stamped that will do in just a minute. For the ones with the designer series paper, you need, let me just look at my little sheet. For the In Color Cardstock, you need pieces that are 3 1/8 by 4 5/8, and you need 2 of each color. And then you're going to need white, basic white cardstock that measures 3 by 4 1/2, and you need 5 of those. And then you need designer series paper. I chose to use 5 different designs, and those also measure 3 by 4 1/2. And you'll need 5 of those as well. So the cutting part is pretty simple. So I am going to start with doing my stamping. So I am just going to move all of this other stuff out of the way. And the reason I'm making these now is that I need some thank you cards for the end of the year. So after tonight, I'll have 20. That will be a good start. This year, I have a smaller amount of students. I have 72, but I will get something small from a lot of them, so I want to be prepared for that. Okay, so for the greenery on all of the stamps I'm stamping, I'm going to use the Old Olive ink. And like I said, I've got all the stamps set up over here. So let's get going. So we're going to start with using this stem, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times. Okay. I'm going to need the same thing again. So I'm going to try to get all my stems stamped. And I'm using both types of stems in the catalog 3 times. When I want 3 of something, I usually start with the middle, and then I go to my outside. That gives me a little bit easier coverage. Okay, so that's those stems, and then I'm going to need 3 of the other stem. So again, stamp 1 in the middle, and then I'm just going to tilt a little bit on both sides. There we go. And I have 1 more to do that. When I'm stamping a bunch of things, I try to do almost like assembly line. So I stamp, you know, this all together, stamp that all together, and then put them together afterwards. Okay, so we are done now with all of our stems, and we're done with the garden green ink. Okay, so we'll start with this one that I have in front of me. And we're going to start with the Darling Duckling, one of the new In Colors. I am using the new In Colors on all of mine tonight. So I'm going to start with that yellow. I'm going to stamp it off, and then I'm going to stamp it on, so I get a much lighter yellow. Because I'm going to, this is a 2-step stamping set, so I want to be able to have that layer on. Okay, so that is done. So let me just put that aside. And I'm using the same, I'm going to try to get all of my yellows done. So I'm not using that background for this next one. I'm using the other background. So I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. There's a really nice variety of stamps with this set, so you get lots of different kinds of flowers. Okay, so both of those are done. Now, because I've still got one more thing to do with the yellow, I am going to be stamping the larger single flower, and I'm just going to be stamping this randomly on the background. So I'm just creating my own background. I wanted this to have my cards to be, you know, just a little bit different, that not all of them were exactly the same format. Whoops, that one got a little darker. That's okay, because there are no mistakes in stamping, and we know that not all flowers look exactly the same. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so we are done with our darling duckling, and let's go to our timid tiger now. So we're going to go back to this one, and wait till you see how nicely these just stamp over. So I'm going to use Timid Tiger on these. They just fit right in. Like I said, this is a great two-step stamping step. And while I have this out, I am going to grab my thank you stamp. And I'm going to stamp this right up here in between the flowers. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, using the full strength of the Darling Duckling, but I felt it was just a little too yellow for me. So for this one, I'm actually going to do the same with the Timid Tiger and just add a little bit of oomph to it. Give it a little bit more color, and then even by stamping that one darker, the Timid Tiger is going to show on it. So what I really like about making these note cards is that they just go so fast, because you've got a much smaller surface that you're stamping on, so it just makes designing and stamping go really fast. Okay, just one more. There we go. Okay, this one is all done. Alright, we can let me just make sure I have nothing else for Timid Tiger, and I don't. Okay, so this one here, we're going to use the soft sky. The secret sky. Secret sea. I'm just renaming everything. This is definitely my favorite color from the new In Colors. Alright. And this really gives it a bold look, but I really like it. And then I'm just going to clean this. And we're going to do the same thing and stamp the thank you right in between those colors. All right, 2 more left for the stamping. Well, and while I have, so what I did for this, I measured like I told you, I just took this 1-inch strip that was left over, and I actually just stamped up and, went right across and then cut it, and it ended up being about 2 inches long. So that's how I did those thank yous, and I did them all in Secret C. Okay, so next we're going to use the cloud cover. Now you're going to see that I have one of the full-size pads. Stamping Up sold the pads to demonstrators so that we could try them out if we wanted to. Right now I'm thinking it's still working for me, but I also bought the refill, and I bought the miniature, the little mini ink pads so that I can stamp one up that doesn't, clog it all up, or make it not clog it, but make it so it doesn't change. Now let me just make sure, yes, this is the one. So I'm just going to stamp these little flowers right in the center, and then, and with this design, even if that color isn't working really well, it's not going to matter, because wait till you see as I cover it with the next layer, which I'm using Secret C. And these, again, cover just as nicely. Look how easy that is. I usually stamp right over it, but I'm stamping, higher up, and it just fits so nicely. And then finally, we have we're going to use now, let me just get these small ones back. We're going to use the strawberry slush. All right, so I am going to again stamp off. So I get that much nicer light pink, and I just got a little ink on there, so I've got to think about what I'm going to do. I'll come up with something. Oh, I know, my thank you is going to cover that. I got some ink on my finger and it just smeared on, but we'll fix that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the second step and just stamp right over that in full ink, and you get this really nice contrast. So pretty. Okay, next step. I took all of these strips, so here's my soft C one, and I stamped that pattern on all of them except for one so I could show you, to give it a little background. So I'm going to do the same on this one. So the pattern is this from the other stamp set. And I'm just going to be stamping it, just going down and I don't need to do that. Well, I'll do it because I inked it up. Okay, so now I'm going to be adding these to all of the fronts. So, oh, I have to show you this. So I think I showed you before the the desk caddy that I made out of cardstock, and then told you my sorry story when I spilled my drink all over my desk. And it, of course, we all know as paper crafters, water and paper just don't get along, so it totally fell apart. I saw this online, and it is 3D printed caddy that does just about the same thing, and I really love it. I got it yesterday, and I am back to knowing where everything is on my desk, which makes me a very happy stamper. Okay, so I'm going to put some adhesive on this, and I am just going to find all of my patterns, and I'm just going to put that across and then snip the ends off. There's one. Okay. Now we need the strawberry slush one. So when you are stamping, you know, in bulk like this, it just makes it so nice when they all have the same elements, because then it's just faster getting it all done. There's our second one. And I usually don't cut these to be the exact length when I'm putting a strip like this across the front, just because I don't really, you know, when you're cutting stuff, I just love being able to not worry that it's going to fit or not. Okay, this one goes with this one. And you can see I'm trying to have it all coming out of the, cutting off the bottom of the florals, okay? And one more. And I have to say, I think I don't know which one I like better, but and I think what I'm going to do is just switch that so I can put this a little bit over that darker one. Okay. So now these are just going to go on to the colored cardstock. Just add some adhesive, and then these will go right on to the cards. Okay. I like having my my cards at school, so that when kids give me something, I can have a thank you card ready for them right away, because that's I try to teach them that it's important to write a thank you note when you get a gift from someone. Okay, so we're just going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of the thank you, and then that's going to go right here. So there's another one all done. Next we're going to need our cloud cover. So simple, but I think pretty striking. And we'll get another thank you. Now, I prepared yesterday, my advisory is going to make Father's Day cards. When we went to make Mother's Day cards, I had one very incensed student say, why do we only do things for moms? And I said, well, Father's Day is not till June. And she said, well, that probably doesn't matter because we still only do things for moms. And I said, no, we'll do something for Dad. So here's our second front, card front. All right, now strawberry slush. And on this one, since I made that little mistake, I want to make sure this is going to cover it. Because remember, there's no mistakes in card making, only opportunities to improve. So I think the stamp you're talking about, Glenn, is not from the Country Hive. So I'm just going to put that up a lot. It is from Sweet Blooms, and it's this stamp right here. Is that the one you were asking about? Okay, one more, and this goes on the Secret Sea. And I'm going to put these aside. We'll put all 10 cards together at the end. But there we go. Those are set. All right, now for the next 10 cards. So I have my smaller strips. So what I'm going to do is just attach all of these to their matching card base. If I had made 6 of these, I would have been able to use one side of each piece of paper, but I did just one for each. Oh, the one she's talking about, the new holder. Yes, it is from the Country Hive. I thought you were talking about my stamp set. Thank you. Yes, I just discovered her, and I was so excited about it because I haven't been looking forward to making another desk organizer. I made 3 of them when I made them last time and gave 2 of them away as gifts. And I just didn't want to have to do that again. So that's all there is to making this one with the designer series paper. So if you needed a ton of thank you cards, I would go the designer series way because it's so much faster and just as striking. I'm just really happy with all of these. Just as I'm really happy with all the new In Colors. They just are so pretty. And this designer series paper goes with all the new In Colors, plus, of course, there's other colors in it. The Old Olive isn't the green in it, but I just love using Old Olive for my greenery. If I was using the designer series paper as background, I would probably then use the one. See how fast this is just going for this part. The background on all of these papers is a solid, one color patterned background. So I chose to use the floral side as for this. And then I tried to pick colors that really went well patterns that really went well with the designer series paper, because I wanted to have one for each in color. And the last design is really a big flower design, and I didn't think it would look as good with these little smaller cards. Okay, this is probably one of my favorites. Well, they're all kind of my favorite. I really just love this pack of paper. And again, these half-inch strips are just scraps, so this is a nice way to add a pop of color to the front of your cards. Instead of maybe putting a piece of ribbon across the front of your card. It's more economical too. So I don't throw all of my little scraps away. I mean, I do eventually when there's way too many of them. Okay, there's that one. And finally, the cloud cover one. I really like this stripe background on the cloud cover design I picked, and flowers, but I like how the other flowers just kind of show off and complement it so nicely. Okay, so we just have a little more stamping to do, because I'm going to stamp the inside of all the cards, and then we're just going to put these all together, and it will not take long at all. So I haven't really been paying attention to the time, but how long it's taking us to make these 10 cards. Okay, and that's what that one looks like. Just, they're all so pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now just use my bone folder. Crease these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what we're going to do before we put the front on, we just get those dimensional backings out of the way. We're going to take Soft C, and I got this stamp from the Right Words, and it says, "Thanks so much for thinking of me." And so I'm just going to add some ink to that and stamp that right in the middle. There we go. Let me just close this so I don't get ink on everything else. And then these are going to get the greeting in the other direction. So there's 1. 2. So what's really nice about note cards is how they come with the envelopes. So you have everything you need. Don't forget to decorate your envelope in some way. You don't want to send a naked envelope. I take care of mine by either decorating the window flap with designer series paper, or I put a stamp. I stamp something in the front, on the front, in either the right or the left corner. And now, with one more stamp left, we're into the final turn. Okay, so all I have to do now is add my adhesive to the back of the cards. So we'll start with the first 5. I give sets of gift cards. I will make a box that will fit them, and then I will give, when I go to a baby shower or to a baby shower or to a wedding shower. Oh, you know, I'm looking at mine's going out a little bit too. I think we're supposed to get my internet, we're supposed to get a thunderstorm tonight too. But I give brides and new moms to be thank you notes so that they don't have to go out and purchase any. And if there's a theme or a color, you know, a color theme, I try to get them to match, and then they have a really nice set. I actually, the last ones I made a whole mess of them because I had helped a bride who's, she's from a family I'm very close with, and so when I went to her shower, well, I helped her make her wedding invitations, and then I made matching thank you cards to go with, that matched the wedding invitation. So that was really nice for her to have. I wasn't anticipating having to change my tape. Okay, let's do this really fast. Okay, now we can just keep going. All right, so now we're just going to, so that's our first one that's stamped. And I'm apologizing for my internet because it's just going in and out too. So Roz, maybe it's mine and not yours. There's our second one. Just 2 more. And then we'll take a look at them all. All right, so there we have it. Let me just get these all out of the way. So we started with our our 5 cards that we stamped the background. and then our 5 cards that we used, the designer series paper. So a total of 10 cards tonight. So what do you think? So that's using the basic white note cards, designer series paper, and our first week of the Sweet Blooms stamp set. And I believe we have 5 weeks of this stamp set, so we're going to have some fun with it. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'll be back Friday night with another edition of Fun Fold Writing, and we are going to be using the Cheers and Sips bundle to make some cards. So again, thanks for joining me. Have a great week, and I'll see you Friday night. Bye-bye.